Haile Selassie, the Lion of Judah. Throughout history, few names echo with the power, mystery, and influence of Haile Selassie. To some, he was a reforming monarch. To others, a living god. Today, we explore the life, reign, downfall, and legacy of the last emperor of Ethiopia, the Lion of Judah. Early life and rise to power. Haile Selassie was born on July 23, 1892, in the Ethiopian town of Ajersagoro. His birth name was Lige Tafari Makanan, Lige meaning child of nobility. He was born into a line of Solomonic royalty, claiming direct descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. From an early age, Tafari stood out. He was educated in Amharic, French, and the intricacies of statecraft. At just 13, he was appointed governor. By his 20s, he was a trusted advisor to Emperor Menelik II, and in 1916, he became Rastafari, Prince Regent of Ethiopia. In 1930, after years of political navigation, Tafari was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia. He took the name Haile Selassie I, meaning Power of the Trinity. The ceremony was broadcast worldwide. The world saw a regal African monarch step into the global spotlight, cloaked in tradition and destiny. Reign and reforms. As emperor, Haile Selassie wasted no time in reshaping Ethiopia. His vision? A modern, sovereign African nation capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with Western powers. In 1931, he introduced Ethiopia's first written constitution, a bold move that limited the power of the nobility and centralized authority under the monarchy. He abolished slavery, established modern schools, and expanded Ethiopia's infrastructure with roads, telegraphs, and postal services. Selassie also worked to modernize the military, knowing that strength was essential in a world threatened by imperialism. Under his reign, Ethiopia joined the League of Nations, a sign that the country was stepping into the international order. But modernization came slowly. Many rural regions resisted change. Some nobles saw him as too progressive, while critics abroad called his reforms cosmetic. Still, by the early 1930s, Ethiopia was no longer a forgotten empire. It was a rising force, and Haile Selassie was its unmistakable face. The Italian invasion and exile. In 1935, the peace Haile Selassie had fought for was shattered. Fascist Italy, led by Benito Mussolini, launched a brutal invasion of Ethiopia, seeking revenge for Italy's historic defeat at Adwa in 1896. Chemical weapons and air raids devastated civilians. In 1936, Haile Selassie was forced into exile, but even in defeat, he refused silence. That same year, Selassie addressed the League of Nations in Geneva. His words thundered through the chamber. "It is us today, it will be you tomorrow." He warned the world of fascism's spread, and history would prove him right. Exiled in England, Selassie lived modestly in Bath, working tirelessly to rally support for Ethiopia. He became a symbol of dignity, resistance, and anti-colonial struggle. And in 1941, with the help of British forces, he triumphantly returned to Addis Ababa, reclaiming his throne and his nation. Haile Selassie and Rastafarianism. While Haile Selassie battled fascism in Africa, across the Atlantic, his image was transforming into something divine. In 1930, a Jamaican preacher named Leonard Howell declared that Selassie's coronation fulfilled a biblical prophecy. He pointed to Revelation in the Psalms, declaring Selassie the returned Messiah, the living God, the true King of Kings. A new spiritual movement was born, Rastafari, named after Selassie's pre-imperial title, Rastafari. To Rastafarians, Selassie represented Black pride, African redemption, and liberation from colonial oppression. They grew their hair into dreadlocks, a symbol of the Lion of Judah, and used ganja in ritual. Reggae music, especially through the voice of Bob Marley, carried Selassie's name across the globe. In 1966, Haile Selassie visited Jamaica. Tens of thousands flooded the airport. The moment his plane landed, clouds broke and sunshine pierced the sky. Many saw it as a miracle. Selassie was calm, dignified, but surprised by the overwhelming devotion. While he never claimed divinity, he respected their beliefs and urged them to seek unity in education. By the late 1960s, Haile Selassie was still revered abroad, but at home, cracks were beginning to show. Ethiopia faced deep poverty, growing inequality, and rising dissent. The emperor's efforts at modernization hadn't reached the rural majority. Famines in Wallo and Tigray in the early 1970s killed tens of thousands, and the government's slow response sparked outrage. Meanwhile, students and military officers demanded change. They saw the monarchy as outdated, out of touch, and incapable of addressing Ethiopia's urgent problems. In 1974, after nearly 44 years on the throne, Haile Selassie was overthrown in a bloodless coup led by the Marxist Derg regime. The monarchy was abolished. The emperor was taken from his palace and placed under house arrest. In August 1975, state media announced Haile Selassie's death, reportedly due to natural causes. But many believe he was murdered by the Derg. For years, his burial place remained unknown. Only in 2000 was he finally given a state funeral, with Rastafarians and Ethiopian royals in attendance. Beyond the throne, Haile Selassie was a father, a husband, and the head of a royal household steeped in ancient tradition. He was married to Empress Menenasfa, a deeply respected and religious woman. Together they had 6 children. The most prominent was Crown Prince Asfa Wasson, who was designated heir to the throne. Selassie's descendants were educated, well-traveled, and many later lived in exile after the monarchy fell. As emperor, Selassie lived in the Grand Jubilee Palace in Addis Ababa. The royal lifestyle included luxury vehicles, exotic pets, including lions, and private staff. Yet Selassie was also known for his personal discipline. He rose early, prayed daily, and worked tirelessly into old age. At the height of his power, his net worth was estimated at the equivalent of $100 to $200 million in today's value. This included land, gold reserves, and assets spread across banks in Ethiopia and abroad. After the revolution, most of it was seized or lost, and the royal family went into exile with little left. Still, the mystique surrounding his wealth and regal way of life continues to capture imaginations, blending fact with legend. Today, decades after his death, the legacy of Haile Selassie still looms large. In Africa, he's remembered as a pioneering leader, one of the first to challenge colonial powers on the world stage. He played a key role in founding the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union, championing the cause of independence across the continent. In Jamaica and across the Caribbean, he remains the spiritual center of Rastafarianism, a living symbol of Black identity, dignity, and resistance. His words and image are woven into reggae music, street murals, and the hearts of millions who still call him Yah. Historians continue to debate his rule. Visionary reformer or autocratic monarch? His accomplishments are undeniable, yet so are the criticisms of corruption, repression, and a rigid feudal system. And yet, the man once known as Tafari Makonnen still inspires. He once said, "Throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, that has made it possible for evil to triumph." Haile Selassie, emperor, exile, prophet, and legend. His life was a bridge between worlds, ancient and modern, spiritual and political, African and global, a king who became more than a man. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, drop a comment below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, walk in wisdom and stay curious.